We live? All right, cool. Mike on a bike, bro. You're the one person that has easily more than 5 nicknames. It's insane, bro. Insane.
Depends on who you ask.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've come across one another for quite a few years, which has been pretty cool.
Yeah.
And every year I hear a new nickname, you know? Mikey G, Mike on a bike, Michael. I mean, depending on what sport you do is dependent on your nickname, which is great.
And I mean, today I'm Mike on a mic. So, I mean, we're live, baby. We're live.
Amazing. Bro, I wanted to ask, you born in South Africa?
Yes, born in South Africa, born in Greytown, small farming town.
Amazing. Okay, cool. And when did you move to Doha?
We moved here in 2006. So way back.
Oh man, this is your home.
Yeah, this is home for me.
Okay.
I left when I was 12, so I've spent most of my life here. So this is home for me. I couldn't imagine now. I mean, obviously, I'll always be South African. Yeah. That's my roots, my core upbringing. But this is home for me, man. I've just, we moved here, and I just decided this is it.
It's another nickname is Habibi.
Yeah, Habibi. There we go.
And Greytown's north, right?
So we are kind of more East Coast.
Okay.
Closer. We're about hour 45 from Durban.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. That's where you get your slang from.
Inland. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
All right, cool, man. And you went what high school did you go to?
So I went to 2 here. I went to Al Jazeera Academy.
Okay.
For, what was it, 2 or 3 years. And then I finished my schooling at English Modern School, where I teach now. I've been teaching.
Full circle.
Yeah, full circle, baby. I give back to the community. Since when I graduated in, I'm not going to say because age is a problem. 2011, I believe it was, and I've been teaching since, man.
Okay,
Obviously,
cool.
I didn't start teaching, but working since 2011 when I was 17.
Did you go to university here?
Yes, well, University of South Africa, UNISA.
Okay.
So I was working at school as an assistant, and I was coaching at a swimming club for 4 years. Just started out, and then gradually started doing all my qualifications. I can coach up to just below Olympic level. I was supervisor of the club. And that's basically how I got hired at the school as a swimming coach.
Okay.
And then I was doing sports psychology and sports management through UNISA.
Amazing. And am I right in saying that your dad's also a teacher?
Correct. Well, now he's a principal. Big Mudir.
Same school?
Yes.
Okay.
He's in secondary though. I'm in primary. I never see the guy.
Okay.
Even everyone's like, oh, where's your dad? I don't know, man. I don't have a dad tracker.
Yeah. Drop him a WhatsApp,
yeah,
man.
exactly.
It's
Send an email. That's 2024.
Exactly. And back in the day, in SA, was there any sports that specifically tickled your fancy while you were back home?
Oh, brother, everything.
Is it?
When I mean, you know how it is coming
Absolutely.
from South Africa, and it's a bit more magnified when you're from a small town, because if you're good at something, they kind of, how it was back in the day, bro. If you could hustle, you got put onto everything. So I was playing hockey. I loved field hockey. Made it to Midlands. I was a very good swimmer. I loved rugby. Wasn't amazing at it as everybody else because I was small. I was always the smallest in my class because I was a year young. Played rugby, did athletics. Javelin was good. Long jump was good. We just did everything possible, And obviously, it was necessary because, like most, we didn't come from money, so I had to, hustle a little bit to get a scholarship, which I did to Wembley College, to start grade 8, and then we left. I think it was term 2, and then we moved here when I was in grade 8. So.
What swimming? Backstroke, freestyle?
I loved everything, man. I mean, butterfly is always going to be a pain, but I loved it. But it was tough, man. I used to, because obviously, like I said, if you're good at something, you were kind of forced into doing it, back then.
I must say, it's almost like every South African that played sport, the schooling system is just evolved for that type of human being. Even if I think back from primary school to high school, like everything was sport driven, and it wasn't
100%.
just rugby.
100%.
I mean, till today, I'm still baffled at the fact that when I matriculated, we had 9 teams in our rugby team.
That's nice.
9.
That's crazy.
We almost ran out of the alphabet.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful to see also that sport in general in South Africa is an outlet for all kids, no matter whether...
What walks of life.
Exactly. It was one location, no matter what sport you played, where you could find a community, you could do your training, work hard, you could see the results, and you made the best of friends.
Yeah.
It was really great, man. Especially community or say team sports in general that's my background. I always played in team sports, and it was great to know that when you're suffering or when you're down, you could always rely on your partners or your team or your coach or whoever was there to kind of almost uplift you and push you through. And one thing sport always taught me was it's okay to lose.
Yeah.
You don't have to be happy,
Yeah.
but it's okay. Like
That's a life lesson.
Exactly. If you learn from it, you can grow, you can get better, and also where your weaknesses lie. So it's something that you can push towards to, I almost want to say, of course, get better, but you can work on those weaknesses to make yourself a full package.
Of course.
When it came to swimming, now that I think about it, you swim, you cycle. I see you run now and then. Why did you never ever dabble in triathlons?
I did, but just, I don't know. I had a bad experience with one race.
Okay.
Where I won the whole thing, but it was categorized in different, like the categories were different. So I wasn't called up for the win.
Okay.
And I was just like, yeah, this is
bad taste in your mouth.
This is not ideal. But look, that was 5 years ago. I've grown.
Yeah, for sure.
When you're young and dumb, you just kind of let these small things tick you off.
Because when if you look back at the disciplines that you do, you'd fit in like a hand in a glove, man. I mean, the biggest thing people always struggle about with the triathlon,
Swimming.
The biggest fear is the swim.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And I played water polo for 4 years. I loved it. And
that's gnarly. Dude.
It is gnarly, bro. If you enjoy wrestling and you enjoy chilling in the
almost
pool,
drowning,
then it's the best sport for you. So I played for 4 years, and it was so interesting when I started my little triathlon journey. I was like, swimming ain't nothing but a thing, son.
Easy, mate.
Yeah, until you have to do 4,000 meters, 3,000 meters of training. I was like, this is why I stopped water polo.
Yeah.
It's relentless, it's brutal, it's lonely.
Yeah, so lonely. Dude, I was 10 years old swimming 3Ks every day in South Africa.
It's
in
tough,
a pool
man.
outside.
Yeah.
I mean, you know how those how those pools are. There's frogs. There's like all sorts.
You
of
mean
stuff.
the dam?
You can't see the bottom.
Yeah.
This is not an Africa thing, guys. Like, we have pools.
They didn't have people to clean it. They used us. Man.
Yeah, exactly.
Swimming while you're there, just pick up the algae around the sides.
I used to hide in the tree. They used to call my mom and be like, oh, he's doing it again. I'd be hiding in the tree. Oh, my stomach hurts. I was 10 years old, bro. I don't want to go home and watch Dragon Ball Z. I don't want to swim 3Ks.
For sure.
But, it's just part of growing up. I'm glad I went through everything.
For sure. I used to make jokes when I was playing rugby in Doha. As soon as we had a moment, we're like, man, I don't feel like playing. Just be like, hey, listen, tell the coach you pulled a calf muscle. You're going to be okay. But all right, so you make your way from South Africa. You come to Doha. Come to school year. I mean, you've been here since 2006, like you said. Amazing journey. I mean, essentially, like we talked about, this is your home. How was the school life in this country? I mean, was it a big adjustment coming from a place, small town, moving, thousands of clicks away, coming to Doha? How was that adjustment?
I mean, come to think of it, it wasn't as crazy as it sounds. Like when you say it out loud, you kind of think back, was it really that difficult? I think it went well for me because I was open to it. Like as soon as we landed, my eyes were just like, boom, like this is sick. Like I'm sold. My family took a bit of time. Like, when most families move, we'll do 1 year, we'll do 2 years, and then it carries on, So I was sold, dude. Obviously, it was a bit of an adjustment, with the culture, with, I grew up with a lot of Muslims around, but when you're 10, 11 years old, you don't really know, anything. So it was a big learning curve in terms of that. But, there were a lot of other Western kids with me at school. Shout out my boy Christopher. He was a South African that was here. I met him literally the night I landed. We're still friends. He's killing it in Dubai right now. And, him and his family really helped us, integrate into the whole system or society. School was weird, dude. People were like, "Oh, you're from South Africa, but you're white."
Waited for
I was
it.
like, "Yes, boy, limited edition."
One of a kind.
So are there wild animals in the streets? This was 2006, dude. Like well, it was warranted questions. So that was all just jokes and funny stuff, and the rest was just kind of like any new school, dude. You'd go to a new school, a new place, you get tested by people, and they push their luck, and then you kind of have to just push back a little bit, and then you end up being friends for the next 10 years. So I loved it, dude. I thought it was the coolest thing. Just the opportunity. What I loved was how open my eyes were to all these other different cultures. We had Italians, we had South Africans, we had Qataris, we had Egyptians, Jordanians, everything. It was just nice. It was insane, overwhelming actually, to have all of these different walks of life, and we're all in this one place, and it was just really cool. Like, I loved it. Obviously, when I finished school, because when you move here in 2006, everybody said, stick to your own. You know what I mean? As bad as that is, which I'm very, very happy to see now that it's very different. Back then, that's just the way things were, So I'm glad to see that kind of way of thinking has kind of left the chat. So back then it was kind of stick to your own. The Western guys stick together, Qataris stick together, etc. There's all these little cliques. And so obviously going through high school, when I finished, everybody left for uni. I stayed. So then I was like, what do you do now? And dude, my closest, greatest friends now are a lot of Qataris, and that I so wish that I integrated myself into the Qatari, not culture, because I'm already living in the culture, but how can I say it? The Qatari circle sooner, because I would have learned things quicker, and I was just missing out on so much, because they are fantastic people. The culture there's so much to learn, and it goes both ways. I'm sure there was a lot of the other cliques that wanted to kind of integrate, but it was kind of a taboo, So I think now it's so nice to see, because obviously I work at a school now, so I see the integration. It's really, really nice to see that all these different walks of life are, all the different cultures and everything are kind of integrating into each other. And my favorite thing is respecting and understanding the differences. It's not a fact of, okay, if you're going to hang out with me, this is the way you need to be. This is the way, he's from this place. This is what he believes in. He's from there. That's what he believes in. We're just dudes. I respect you. I accept you. Vice versa. And that's just life 101, man. So it's really nice to see a change.
It's very true that you say that. I think for me is, it's important to understand. You don't have to agree.
Of course not.
You don't have to agree with what everybody's doing, with the way that they live their life. But if you just understand it, that agreement of two parties will always be, I almost want to say, positive. I've seen so often, even when I got here 2013, you're so fixated in your own ways to do your thing, and also you're so used to being around your community, your culture of people, that when you get here, this country is super overwhelming. Being an expat is super overwhelming, because when you get here, you have to make a decision, and that's why some people, they leave after a year, some people stay for the rest of their life. So if you can just come to an agreement in terms of, hey, listen, I respect you, I get where you're coming from, this is my values, this is what I believe, and you move forward, and you can move forward as friends, buddies, eventually even, best of friends. I've got clients / friends here that are closer to me now than some of my own family back home.
Same.
And it's all love. It genuinely is. And I think once you accept,
are open to that.
Yeah, exactly. Once you accept it, you're gonna live a more fruitful life.
100%, dude.
Man, that's so
100%.
cool. I mean, I've never had the privilege of actually going to school here, but I've looked at many people that have studied here, people that went to high school here, university here, and I must say, I think that amalgamation of cultures is so important,
100%.
especially for the people that studied here, went to uni here, etc. and got the education here, because there's not a lot of places in the world where you can interact with so many different cultures, so many ethnicities, and learn and love and enjoy that.
Exactly.
You know,
It's a privilege.
it is. And a lot of people, they, I guess, are maybe they
Living
frown.
life like this.
Yes, they frown upon it a little bit, and they want to stick to their ways, and I guess that's
Hey, man,
why those
fair to
don't
them.
last. Yeah, 100%. Look, in general, I mean, we've spoken about it before. For me, Qatar is like milk and honey. It's the most awesome place in the world, and I love it.
I agree, man.
So you studied at UNISA, decided to get into giving back to the community by becoming a teacher. What made you decide?
So that's actually a funny story, because obviously growing up, both mom and dad are teachers.
Oh wow, okay.
And I was like, yeah, nope. I want to make more money. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, and then obviously going through high school, I finished high school and I didn't know what I wanted to do. And this is something that I've had a lot of conversations with students. Obviously, I don't teach them when they're in year 12, matric, but I taught them when they were 7, 8, 9 years old. So I still keep a really good relationship on them, still catch up, just to, keep ties. And I tell them, it's fine. You don't have to know what you want to do. I mean, I graduated and I literally had no idea what I wanted to do. The initial plan was do a gap year, because I was a year young, I was 17. I was going to do a gap year. I was not in the right place to be sent off to a university, especially in South Africa. So I was going to do a gap year here, and the school was kind enough to give me an opportunity to just to be an assistant for PE, because, PE was still quite new to the school, especially for the younger ones and stuff. So, I started out doing that. I was moving equipment, etc., just, being an assistant. And the one day I set up the class, kids came, teacher had an emergency, something had happened. So I'm standing there, I've got the equipment set up, I've got the kids waiting. I was like, I've just watched him do it. I guess I'll just run it, So I started running the lesson, and, people saw what I was doing, and I got called in and said, listen, we don't usually do it this way, but, we'd like to, because the year twos at that stage, which is 6, 7 years old, weren't doing PE. So they said, listen, Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday, Thursday, you assist as normal. Tuesdays, you teach all the year 2 classes with another assistant. So the two of us started teaching every Tuesday. And it just grew from that, man. Like I never thought about being a teacher. I never thought about how I act with kids. Keep in mind, I was 17 years old. So I was pretty much still a kid myself. So that was a difficult integration. But, without sounding big-headed, I was very good. Hope I still am. But I was very good with kids, and obviously I'm a very high energy person. I love sports. It's I mean, you know how it is. It's in my blood, like my core beliefs coming from South Africa. So I love sports so much. I have fun doing it, man. And it's nice to be able to do that and be put in a place where I can share my love for sport. Hopefully give a positive impact and positive experience of sport to the young and up and coming, because I mean, you know how it is. It is a country where it's very easy to be lazy, same as every other place. So it's nice to be able to give them a push from a school perspective. And yeah, it's just gone from there.
In Qatar and the Middle East in general, being complacent is quite easy. So in terms of sport, activity, even doing things recreationally, what I had noticed here is people only start at the end of their 20s, what class can I join? What is F45? What's units? What's CrossFit? Let's try. And back home, man, people were playing sport and doing activities from the age of 2, 3 years old, in the garden, just kicking the ball, whether it was football, whether it was rugby. So there definitely is a lack of grassroots training here. Yeah. And it's nice to see that over the years that
there's been a big push.
There has been, from a young age, because fundamental development is important, man. And you can see it in in the slightly older generation now and compared to the younger generation today. Like if it didn't matter what you played, you just need to do something. I was talking to a friend of mine, and his kid is a year and a half old. She's doing gymnastics. Now, nobody's expecting this child to do a backflip, man. But the fact that she's learning fundamental body disciplines, you know, to start moving, being able to hang on a bar, being able to walk on a tightrope, you know, these little basic things, they're so important. And I personally feel like that's probably why I also stayed active. It's why I like to keep moving. It's because from a young age, that's all we got taught. Now, bear in mind, this might be a bit of an extreme, because my lack of education, by the time I got to 13, I was like, stuff academics, man. What the fuck is this? I just want to play rugby. But that balance, I feel, if now that I've seen it, I firmly believe from a young age, if the kids just start this development process from even 6, 7 onwards, it's super important. It's critical.
Bro,
you know, you learn how to run, you learn how to walk, you learn how to catch a ball, your hand and eye coordination, like you said, balancing. These small fundamentals are critical, you know, and especially when you get older, you know, when you actually end up doing maybe a fitness class or you end up playing a sport, you know how to control yourself. I mean, I look at this country and it might have the highest ACL injury in the world. And I mean, this is now coming from two people that have both torn ACLs. So
I've done too.
So either we're going to blame it on the weather or it's the sport that we do. But what I'm getting to is, I think if the young kids of today, you know, have
started
this,
developing physically,
if they had this discipline, your risk for injury is far less.
Dude, I can tell you because I'm teaching the grassroots classes. I've got year 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that's 6 to 10, 11 years old. When I saw it, the biggest difference was COVID. When I'm teaching swimming, for example, just to, you know, when you kick, flex your feet down. They're not all of them, but some were not able to flex their feet down. And it's purely because their Achilles tendons aren't developed. And that's just from sitting too much. So it's small things like that that make a huge difference. That'll make you walk differently. You know, so immediately not being able to walk differently,
You waddle.
Your hips take the hit. Hips leads to lower back. It's a domino effect. You know, COVID was a scary, scary time because I saw a huge difference in the kids from when pre-COVID to post-COVID. Socially, it was so sad to see how scared they were. You know, and, you know, rightfully so. We were all indoctrinated.
Absolutely.
When I got it the first time, I was waiting for the cops to show up and take me.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree. Look, in the beginning, especially the first 6 months, even the first year, I'll give it, like, you had to be mindful, you know, because it was a scary time. People were passing away.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it definitely wasn't easy. No, you're right. And I mean, it's a special thing to even be someone that is able to coach kids from that young age.
Dude, being a teacher is a privilege. Being a teacher it's not just a job. And that is my biggest issue with teachers and this is something that I bring to the table because it's something that I saw was lacking. Was obviously I had a lot of teachers who cared. Dude, Mrs. Couchman, I will never forget her for the rest of my life. She just looked at me differently. Basically told me, stop your shit. You can. Literally. I'll never forget it for the rest of my life. And if I can be that person, just for one student out of now it's my 13th year, and however more years I've got left. Dude, if I can just be that one for one student, I'll take it. Because there's a lack of care, and if they're not getting care from the teacher, what are you doing? You know, if you're not there to make a difference, forget about, I need to teach this skill to you. Forget about that. You need to build that bond first. Make the kid feel safe, feel happy, you know? So what I saw from my PE teachers, I mean, you know how it was back in the day, dude. It was, you get to the field, this is the game we're playing, go play. There was no warm-ups, which also leads to physical, you know, injuries and stuff and lack of development. Dude, my kids are 6 years old. They know. They hate me for it, but they know we will do 5 minutes of stretching before every single lesson. That's just the way it is. So just to be able to give them that care, dude, the learning almost happens automatically.
Special,
After
man. I'll never forget our PE teacher in high school was a military guy.
Oof.
Bro. Felt like I was in Kamp Staldrod. Swear to you. We had
Ja, corporal.
bro, it was brutal. And he was like one of those guys that if you didn't do it right, you just get detention. You know, it wasn't even like, let me help you. It was, oh, you're not doing it this way? Go set 2 detentions. And it was so, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love this guy because there was 2 things he instilled. That was a bit of fuss, mate, like when you're suffering, push through. Yeah. And the second thing was respect, you know, walk in a line, say please, say thank you, you know, the basic fundamentals. Outside of that, it was just destroy.
Hardcore,
yeah,
right?
bro, it was destroy. There was no balance. And we had this every 3 months, we had to do a 2.4 run. Oh, bro, barefoot between grass and cobblestones. It was just.
You don't have shoes in Africa?
No, bro. No. Animal skins. You know, we're like bushmen. We just ran through the stones.
the veldt.
Yeah, exactly. Talking about shoes, you know, I've been playing rugby since I was 3 years old, right? Or 4 years old, sorry. And I got my first pair of boots when I was 15.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, it was barefoot all the way, son. And in those Cape Town winters, that grass, I wouldn't say it snows, but there'd be this layer of like cold ice water at the top. And you're playing at 8 o'clock in the morning. Oh, bro, it was brutal. But hey, we got through it,
We used to get paper thorns.
What's that?
Paper thorns are like those little thorns that grow in the grass.
Oh, yeah. You can't see them. You can't see them.
Brother.
You'd be running on the balls of your foot and you just stop flicking as you're running past.
Coach thinks you're sidestepping.
Yeah,
Nope, just trying to get rid of thorns.
Greatest try of all time was you sidestepping thorns. Amazing. Yeah, bro, I'll tell you one thing. I didn't know this about you, but that's really inspirational. And it takes a very special person to be able to teach children. Yeah. And I wouldn't say that I'm even capable of doing something like that. I think you need to have a lot of patience. Like you say, you need to have the time to build a relationship. And it's really tough, man. And I don't think there's enough people out there in the world that are diligent, diligent enough to actually, you know, set themselves up to make these kids push in a direction where they can develop well. You know, a lot of people just take it on as a job, and there's a few key working jobs where I don't think people actually get enough recognition for. I mean, we can name the list from firefighting to police, and teaching is one of them. Teaching is one of them because it does make or break the person. I mean, I can only talk about myself, but when I look back in my life, you're right. You know, out of 12 years, if I had maybe 2 teachers that I can remember that were like people that, you know, not during my good times, you know, I barely remember the teachers from when I got like a good score on my exam sheet. I remember the ones that were like, hey, listen, you're better than that. You know, pull up your bootstraps. I know you play rugby. This is what's going to get you to the game. If I had more teachers that actually pushed me on education, I wouldn't have had to go through a 5 to 6 year journey to figure out also what I want to study, where I want to go. 100%. And I don't believe anyone really knows what they want to do at 18.
Of course not.
I didn't know what I wanted to do until I got to 28 years old.
I found out last year.
Yeah, listen, with those amount of nicknames, I wouldn't know what I want to be either. So I don't think it's that important to select what you want to do, but I do believe teachers put you on the right path.
100%.
So, I mean, if I had the right, I think if I had the right lecturers back in the day, I would have moved into sports science and into that field straight after university. Yeah. And then from there chosen what specific field I want to go in. But at least the basic understanding of what I love and what I'm good at, I would have done. And I think also another really big thing when it comes to education, now that we're on the topic, is I think a lot of people get forced by their parents to choose a specific field. Like, I mean, if I think about myself, I didn't even ask my parents I wanted to study sports science, even though I loved it. I loved biology. I loved sport. It was really good at rugby.
Now it just makes sense.
Yeah, you know, it was the perfect channel to go into. And I didn't even ask them because I already, in my mind, subconsciously knew this isn't going to make money. Like, I could picture my parents going, what, you want to become the coach for Western Province? You know what I mean? Like, 1 in a million job opportunity. Come on, man. Yeah. You know? So I went into engineering.
Yeah. I don't blame them either, man, because it was different times back
Absolutely.
then. I mean, that wasn't even a thing, dude. Like, if I think back now, if I would have told my parents, listen, I want to go into like physiotherapy,
Dude? So true.
You know what I mean? So it's
the 8 to 5 was a set for you to be able to actually make money, buy a house, find a wife, have kids, retire. That's what the 8 to 5
we don't have a name for it, but the American dream, you could say.
Exactly. Where
it doesn't sound like a dream.
No, it's a nightmare, bro. I think I didn't hold an engineering job longer than a year and a half before I got itchy feet and I was like, I need more. And it's not that I resigned because I didn't enjoy it. I resigned because there's no like
action.
There's no push. You know, I feel like I could have just done more. And then every year and a half, I just moved to a different job. Bear in mind, I was going this way, thank God. But yeah, I think if I look back now, I hope that lecturers, school teachers, coaches, anyone in an educational field or in a field of learning, you know, if you can be that 1%er that can give that person that nudge to be like, you're going to be fine, you're going to be good, you just need to push in this direction, you know, fix yourself, change this, do that, and listen. You know, I think listening is such an underrated skill, man. Yeah. I've been telling people for years, like, especially because me and my wife are both coaches, and me and her have this conversation often where I tell her, you know, I think the biggest issue with coaching, and I'm assuming with education and being a teacher, it might be a similar outlook, is I really believe that the coaches, not just in Qatar, in the world, they don't master the skill of understanding that whatever they're programming or whatever they're lecturing to the athlete, the student, whoever it is that it's not about them. You know, we're so fixated on
how I would do it.
Yes, you know, like, you know, it's almost like too proud. You want to be that person, like, oh, you know, I'm going to give you this program because this is going to make you do X, Y, and Z. Meanwhile, you didn't even listen to the brief. And listening to the brief is just having that conversation. You know, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? What do you want to be? What do you enjoy? You know, I've had, sorry, the last little topic is, and the reason why I always came across this and having these conversations is because I find 99% of all my clients, when they would come to me, I'd ask them, we'd sit down, we'd have a coffee, and I'd go, what do you want to do? And the number one answer is, I want to lose weight. And I look at them and I go, you don't need me. Close your mouth. You know, close your mouth.
Delete your abs.
Yeah, man. You know?
Except Snunu.
Oh, shit. That's a plug, Dino. But you don't need me. Yeah. You know, I'm not here to teach you or to help you, you know, lose weight. I just want to say, my background is to make you figure out what you enjoy. And this is going back, that's why I'm bringing up this topic, is it's going back to the point where if these athletes and clients of mine started off in school, they would have a fundamental balance of what they enjoy.
100%.
And every single client, before we started, every single one, I told them, pick a sport. I don't care what it is. We can't start without you figuring out what you enjoy. Because going to the gym is not a sport. It's a development program for you to get better at whatever you want to do. Specifically if you've never been in the gym before. you are not going to enjoy it. Waking up with DOMs sucks. It takes a very special person to wake up and go, yes.
Oh, that feels good.
Yeah, exactly. And if they do like it, they're also probably taking some recreational drugs on the side. So at the end of the day, you're not going to enjoy that. Climbing on an assault bike, it's not something, if you've never tasted it, you're not going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So find something that you love. Paddle, football. Man, it can be chess. Just find something, and then what we'll do is we'll develop and work towards
And
that.
you can channel it towards
Exactly.
that. You need an end goal.
And bro, it's worked every time. And look, I mean, you can't save everyone.
No.
Don't get me wrong. You know, you just
teach
can't.
everyone. Can't save everyone.
But that's always been my, it's not a trick. It's just been my way of development. Because at the end of the day, if you're just going to slap some kind of crazy workout on the board, yes, for the first month, it's going to be fun. You know, after that, people are going to start leaving. Oh, why am I here? Why am I doing this? What is this development even for? You know, the first holiday trip they get and they eat their baklava and 2 espresso shots, everything goes out the window. But if you have a sport, you fly, you go to your holiday destination. Oh, there's a tennis court.
Boom.
Let's play. You know, so I don't know. My mindset's more revolved around that.
No, I respect that, man. Because I mean, obviously, I'm in the teaching side of life, whereas you're more in the fitness industry. I'm in you could call it the pre-fitness industry, which I think is incredibly important, as you said, because whatever me and the rest of the PE teachers of the world are doing now, it will stem into when they come to you. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So it's all foundation. When you're building a house, you're an engineer. If your foundations aren't strong, you can build on top and top and top, and things are going to crack and fall. So if you don't start with those foundations, which is why it's nice to hear, it's refreshing to hear that someone in the fitness industry is not just like, oh yeah, I got 100 clients, bro, yeah. You care. What do you want? You could easily just be like, okay, you want to lose weight? Fantastic. Here's the invoice. I'll see you. No, there has to be a level of care, man. Because if you're not putting care into it and I don't know, there has to be a form of love or passion about what you're doing. Otherwise, what are you doing, man? Stay at home. You know what I mean? And funny, you mentioned about, what was it? Like the mental aspect of it. What do you want to do? So we actually, just yesterday at work, we did a professional development thing where teachers were teaching teachers. Say that 3 times. And Miss Danny, shout out. We did one where it was about neuroscience, which is a class she did in her master's, and it was talking about where we've got education, 3 circles. Education, you have this little overlap, and then you've got science. That tiny bit of overlap is incredibly important, but teaching and science don't move at the same pace. And she was just talking, to cut it short, she was just talking about how scientifically all these things and how it affects students, like testing. Dude, it's so bad to test because you're being, like right now, there's finals. Good luck to all the year 11s and 12s in the world. Right now, there's finals. You're cramming 2 years of information into one exam. You've been taught in a classroom for the last XYZ years. You have all this information you've been studying at home, you've been studying in the classroom. Environments that are comfortable for you. Then you have to cram all this information into a paper and you're being tested in an environment that you're not used to because it's in a gym hall or an exam hall where everybody's spaced out and dude, you freak out. I probably still am a bad tester. I sit down and I'm like, oh, what's my name again?
Yeah.
You know? And homework. For what? You know, and these are things that I'm so glad are being talked about more because back in our days, bro, you had your homework, you had your tests. You don't do well on both. Now it's different. People are, and this is what I'm really happy about is teachers being taught to teach differently now. We are talking about these things. You get different learners with different types of learning. Visual, hands-on, auditory, all these different things, which is cool. And I think it'll make a big difference because like you said, maybe if you had more when you were in school, maybe you'd be on a different path. But not to say your path is really amazing, if I may say so myself. But it's the same for me. if I had been guided a little bit differently, obviously, all cards on the table, my fault. At the end of the day, I'm the one who wrote that exam, failed that exam, whatever it is. But just as guides, those guides can make a big difference.
Absolutely. What do you think then would be the, let's not call it set in stone, but what would be the ideal scenario for education in terms of getting a student to actually perform? Because when I look at it, I agree 100%. I am a terrible exam taker. And it's not also because...
You don't know the information.
Exactly. The environment is stressful. But then again, when it comes to a sporting environment where you're playing a final game or you're doing your race day...
Different pressure.
I perform.
Yeah.
I'm one of those guys where I am not the best person to follow when I'm training.
Yeah.
Because I don't care about the training. Not in terms of I don't care, like I don't want to push myself. I don't care in terms of what other people are doing.
Yeah.
I stick to my thing. I do what I do. And when it comes to race day...
Lick a stamp and send it.
Exactly. Yeah. So when it comes to education, when I think about where I was and how I would study, the amount of stress was a different type of stress. Now, again, it could be because what I was studying, I didn't enjoy. So I wonder that if I had like you say, the right guidance, the right path, which it's so difficult. It's a needle in a haystack, right?
Difficult one, bro.
But if I had that guidance, I wonder if I wrote those exams, I'd be like,
got it.
Don't care about the people around me. Don't care about where I am, what I'm doing. So in my mind, I almost wish that when I got to 16 years old, instead of selecting subjects, I wish I selected paths of work, where I had someone that sat me down and said, okay, here's 5 options. And even if those 5 options were completely random, engineering, sports science, and neurology as an example, right? They're all totally different. Yeah. And then you having that conversation with that person, asking the questions, but why neurology? Why engineering? Well, engineering because I know I'm going to make money. Okay.
Yeah.
Why sports science? Well, I love rugby.
There you go.
That's interesting. Yeah. Why do you like rugby? Well, I like training. I like the dynamics. I like learning. I like learning a new skill. Oh, okay. Let's dive into this a bit more. Because why am I studying a specific subject like Afrikaans, no offense, all right, where I actually want to go is into a totally different field. Yeah. Now, bear in mind, it was just a joke, okay? Yamamana. But you know what I mean? I feel like I wish education was more based on... But again...
There needs to be a change.
Yeah. Well...
But at least the conversations are being had now, which is a step in the right direction. Things have changed. Things will change. Young people are a lot more vocal, talking about things and what they want, which can be a bit annoying. But at the same time, I wish we did it.
Yeah.
But that wasn't an option for us.
It was also slightly frowned upon. It's like you do what you do and you move forward. Yeah. Actions first and then you ask the questions later. But then it's too late.
Yeah, exactly.
It's too late. You've already, dialed in on a totally different course.
Exactly.
Yeah, crazy, man. Education's a very, very tough job. I'll be honest. It's a tough job. We've got a running joke in our friend group where we have quite a few school teachers in our group of friends.
Let me guess, all the time off?
And we get a couple complaints, where they're like, I've had such a long week. I'm like, oh, really? You've had a long week? Oh, that 6 to 2 must have been terrible,
tough.
And you're 6 months off out of a 12-month job.
Someone's got to do it.
Yeah, paid, by the way.
Yeah.
6 months paid.
But the annoying thing is we can't take it when we want to.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Sure. So I mean, it's in the summer, so yeah, you're right. You can't choose when you want to go.
Sorry.
It's in the perfect time of the year, but you're right. You can't choose that.
I mean, look, dude, the grass is always going to be greener somewhere. You know how many times I'm sitting at work. It's 9 a.m. I've already finished 3 hours of teaching, and then I, open my phone. I'm on Instagram and I see Stay Functional 101 having a coffee. Must be nice.
I got no leg to
So,
stand on,
you
but
see.
I got no leg to stand on, but
Yeah.
no, but nonetheless, education is I'll say it again. It is it's grueling, and I think it takes a special person. So
Right, but don't take away from the fact that you are an educator too. You know what I mean? It might not be in a classroom, might not be in a school, but you're still at a learning establishment.
yeah,
So you also have that same responsibility that I have. It's just different. You know what I mean? It's
True.
still a responsibility. You still have to make sure that you are taking care of these people. And it's a bit. I dare to say it's a little bit more amplified because it's more physical. I mean, if you coach something or you miss a coaching point of a lift, and he can get hurt. So, don't take away from the fact that you are also in that same position where you have a very high responsibility in your job and you are also educating. So I think if more, like you already take a lot of responsibility by asking them what they want, but I think if more people in the fitness industry took that, we're all responsible for what we put out there. Like even like for me on social media, I don't put out stupid stuff. And sometimes, this is not to say I do stupid stuff, but I have a responsibility. I have a lot of kids that follow me, so I'm cautious of what I'm posting. That's not to say that I'm only posting the good. I mean, just the other day, I had a really, really bad experience at a race, and I could have easily just not posted that. But dude, life is life, man. Like if you're not gonna, I'm gonna sound like a bumper sticker, but if you're not gonna get knocked down, getting up is not gonna be as sweet, So we're all responsible for what we put out there and how we portray ourselves to other people, and what we do with people who make themselves vulnerable to us, because that's basically what it is. You're breaking down that barrier between you and your client. I'm breaking down the barrier between me and my kids, my students. And they're making themselves vulnerable to me to learn. Your clients are making themselves vulnerable to you.
very true.
That's a big responsibility, man.
Absolutely. Talking about getting knocked down and coming back up.
Episode 2. Snap.
Hey, listen, this pod went on a educational journey. It was genuinely beautiful. I loved it, man. Going back to sport. So you're finish high school, you start studying.
Yeah.
How did you move from the transition of swimming, doing some school sporting events, moving into university? I remember when we first met, or first saw you on social media, it was heavy bike rides with a cycle, couple runs, massive F45 sessions. I mean,
Dirt bikes.
yeah, you were tricks of the trade.
Yeah.
How did you get into that side of life?
I don't know. I think it's just, it was supposed to happen, because there is no link. In South Africa, I was never around dirt bikes. Okay, my dad had a few road bikes, motorbikes. Obviously, he was a professional cyclist in South Africa, so
really?
I grew up with that. But
amazing.
You know how it is when you're a young boy. You never want to listen to your dad.
Yeah.
So he was all like, "Hey, you want to come for a ride?" Nope.
Yeah.
I used to cycle to school, but it was never beyond that. So on weekends, we'd be traveling 3-4 hours in the car. He'd race. I'd be cruising around, making friends, whatever. I loved that side of it, but it just never interested me, And then obviously being South African here, we camp a lot. So we had a group of families that went camping, and naturally a lot of those families had quad bikes for their kids. And hey man, that's fun. So I always wanted one. And then when I started working, it was actually my second paycheck, I believe. I bought myself a quad. 6,000 real, 2006 black and purple Yamaha Banshee. Dude, I just never used it much because I didn't have a driving license. So dad would have to drive me to Sea Line. He'd park and I'd cruise around right by the car, and then we'd bounce. And then one day, Colin Gilpin, Matt, my friend's dad, came up just because that's who he was. He came up to the car and was like, "Hey, I see your son riding. My son rides bikes." He was on a motorbike. And said, "Listen, I've got an extra bike at home. Why don't you come out next week?" He came out next week. We all rode together. Dad loved it, bought himself a bike. And I was like, I'm not getting left behind. So I sold the Banshee and then also bought a dirt bike 2005 Honda 450 with an exhaust that was like this long.
Wow.
And oh man, I just fell in love. I sucked so bad, so
It's a
bad.
new sport, new skill.
I loved the suck. You know, like I just loved it so much. It was all I could think about. And then, you know, one thing led to another. Did my first race. Dad said, "You're not ready." Did I listen? Nope. Broke my ankle in 3 places. Full send. First thing he said was, "I told you so."
Oh, that's brutal, bro.
So yeah, and then I just never stopped, dude. Like I loved it. I loved the grind. Like it sounds weird, but I loved the grind. Like it was such hard work. I couldn't corner. I couldn't. And then the next race I did, like sand race, because that was on a muddy track in Lusail. First sand race I did, I was lapped like 10 times. I got run over by the leader, you know, like falling over in front of him, not his fault. And now I battle for race wins with the guy, you know, so it's just, it's beautiful, man. Like I mean, we spoke about this. I can't imagine me without it. Like it's weird. It's such a big part of me. I just fell in love with it, and the things that I've gone through, the things that I've learned about life, myself, it's amazing.
I had a conversation with a friend of mine that also does dirt bike rides, and I wanted to understand, like, how tough is this? Because don't get me wrong, all right?
It looks easy.
It looks fun. It looks enjoyable, all right? But it looks like you're essentially just riding a motor down a straight, you know, just holding the throttle.
The bike does all the work?
Yeah. And he was telling me, he's like, you've done jiu-jitsu before, right? So I'm like, yeah, of course. Of course. He's like, now, imagine being in God, all right? Or in butterfly God, and you keep your legs around your opponent, all right? And then your hands around their chest. And then you hold on, all right, for an hour. And I was like, no, I wouldn't be able to do that. Yeah. It's like, well, that's how it feels being on a bike. It's like the way that you have to squeeze and hold on with your thighs and your legs onto this piece of equipment, and going through these bumps, being in these isometric positions is insane. Yeah. And that opened my eyes. I was like, okay, this is not as easy as I thought. And one of my really good friends back home, he does these bike rides. I'm going to butcher it, bro. Maybe you can help me. I can't remember the name of it. But essentially, you're going on these off-road bike rides up these mountains.
He does hard enduro.
Yes, yes. And like I was having a chat with him. He finished the race, and we went for something to eat. And he looked as if genuinely got driven over by a bus. He was like seized. His arms could not extend, and he was sitting on his bench, right, trying to drink some water. He had some electrolytes with him, and he was trying to eat food. And every movement was like, oh, bro, can you pass the table salt, please? I'm like, are you okay? Like, well, what happened to you? You look like you've been like you've been casted.
Dirt bikes, baby.
Yeah, it's definitely not an easy sport. It opened up my eyes a lot. And you know Ricky?
Yes.
So about 3 years ago, me and Ricky were chatting, and I saw he was on a dirt bike. I was like, bro, how is it? Like, is it fun? Is it enjoyable? He's like, man, you got to come down, come try it out. And obviously didn't get that far. But from what I've seen, even the community aspect about it looks beautiful. Yeah. Like, you know, everybody, it's almost like one dream, you know, everybody's doing their thing and super supportive. And it looks great. It looks great. So in terms of in Qatar, when it comes to the races, is there a league? How does it actually get set up? Yes. Like, can you actually do it as a sport here?
Yeah. So it's run by QMF, the federation, and QMF, yeah, Qatar Motors and Motorcycle Federation.
Okay.
So we have one championship split into 2 essentially. So the Qatar Off-Road Racing Championship, and then there's Survival and Baja. So Survival is the track stuff, which is my main love, and then Baja is like rally stuff. So rally is where you've got a map in front of you. It's called a road book, and you're scrolling with your thumb, and then the map just kind of like moves up, and then you've got
so it's a GPS, like a GPS system?
Yeah, and then so that's a map with arrows and cap heading. So
manual
degrees. So 50 degrees left.
I
And then
see.
you've got a GPS unit that's giving you your coordinates. So you need to make sure that if I'm going at 100 degrees straight, and then when my map says at this distance, so you need to make sure that at 61.3, I turn left at 50 degrees, that all lines up, and then you turn left at 61.3.
Bro, what happened to Google Maps?
So this is while doing anywhere between, let's say, cruising at 60 k's an hour to max speed 150.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Look, it sounds very old school to me, but what is the reasoning behind not having an actual digital map?
So they've actually gone digital now, but it's not an arrow.
Okay.
They don't say here's the direction, because the whole thing of it is
Finding,
figuring out
okay.
the directions by yourself.
Okay.
Making sure that you are on the right track. You put yourself there.
Right. So navigation is actually part of the race.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a skill, man.
Yeah, and rally's rough, man.
Yeah.
It's taken me out. Recently, taken my dad out. It's rough.
And what is the distances? What do you
So when
driving
it's in our national championship, it's usually anywhere between 140 to 180 kilometers, and then when we do international, it's about 600, 700 k's. Yeah, over 2 days, 3 days. So it's long days.
consistent?
Yeah.
Or you do a stint, rest, recover, come back the next day and do it again?
Yes, yeah. So like on an international, it's over 3 days. Day one, you do your prologue, and that determines your start list. And then you'll have stage one, or they call it stage two, because prologue is basically stage one. And then you'll do a road section from like the race control, which is usually Lusail. So we'll ride on the roads to start of stage where the off-road starts. So last year we did like 77, 80 Ks from Lusail to Bob, I think it was.
Okay.
And then when you get there, they give you a new map. You got 15 minutes to load your map in, all manual with the paper and everything, sellotape, and then you start your stage. You do like 180 Ks, finish somewhere else, refuel, and then you do the next whatever Ks it is, and then you do your road section back. And then you get back, you got 2 hours to work on your bike, and then you put your bike into park firme, and you're not allowed to touch it until the next morning. And then you go again.
Wow.
Unless you Mike, then you go to the hospital.
Just to give context, when you're talking about 180 Ks of driving, what is the average time, give or take, to finish a course like that?
About 3 hours. 3 hours. If you're on it, 3 hours. If you just, finishing, 4.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's quite technical then. It's
Yeah.
not a straight line.
And if you've been off-road here, there's a lot of rocks.
Okay.
There's a lot of big rocks, because it's not always sea line. We hardly ever race at sea line because of the camps and stuff. So there's a lot of big rocks in this place, bro. And they hurt.
I must say, it's the comparison between the desert in the south and the desert in the north is like two
Huge.
totally different locations. Sea line, it almost looks like soft and fluffy, and then when you go up north, anywhere up to Fruwates, it's like, oh, okay,
Rock hard.
This is savannah territory, And coming back to the race in terms of your bread and butter, the circuit.
Oh.
Is there more than one circuit here? Do they have, or do they just design different circuits?
So we have 2 tracks that we practice at, and that stays the same. If we want to make any changes to the track, we can when we do maintenance, like every month. But in terms of the racing, it's a different track layout every single time we race.
Okay. And that is designed by the federation?
Yeah, by the federation. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's an hour, 75 minutes plus 1 lap. And
Okay.
it is rough.
So essentially, you'll be doing the course for 75 minutes, consistent.
Yeah.
Is there,
Race pace for an hour and a half.
and is there fueling involved?
You can stop and refuel, but if you want to
No
be
time.
competitive,
Yeah,
there's
no time. Interesting. And how do you classify as winning? Is best time wins in that most amount of laps in 75
yes,
minutes?
basically. So we all start at the same time. It's not like one by one. So we all start on the same, and then it's
3, 2,
Le
1.
Mans start, which is we are 15 meters behind our bikes. We run to our bikes, jump on, and
Okay.
yeah. And then it's basically the first person to cross the line when 75 minutes is over, plus 1 lap, and he's the leader.
I
So
see.
anybody after that.
I see. Is there any, almost want to say, integration between the Qatar Federation and outside around the GCC?
I think so, because I mean we have a ton of Kuwaitis, Emiratis, Saudi guys that come and race.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And vice versa. You
Yeah.
guys go out and
Yeah.
you race in different countries around the GCC.
Yeah.
Done any international trips?
Yeah, I did. I've raced a 3-hour enduro race in Denmark. I raced in Dubai a couple of years ago. I did Kuwait a lot. There was an international there. That was an experience. Yeah, I've just been focused because last year I was leading the championship, so I didn't really want to risk it. Sounds a bit soft when you say it out loud, but you know, I sacrificed so much. I just didn't want to put anything on the line, you know, because it was my first title at a, you know, my first shot at a title. So it was very important that I just stayed fit and healthy. Healthy being the main one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it paid off, man. I won my first championship last year. First local, you know, Qatar resident, you could say, that's won a championship in a decade, easy.
Amazing.
So I was very happy. Yeah.
Talk equipment, bro.
Oh man, dirt bikes.
Yeah. What are you sitting on now?
So right now I've got 2 KTMs. Shout out Alfredan, legends. So Alfredan sell gas, Husqvarna, and KTMs, which is basically like the 3 flagship models in the world, bro. I mean, they're household names, you could say. And they're 3 different brands owned by the same mother company.
Okay.
So it's almost the same, very small differences. So it's almost the same bikes, all under one roof. Last year I was on a gas, and for the circuit stuff, because I've got 2 bikes, one for circuit stuff and one for the rally stuff for long distance. And yeah, man, they put me on a KTM this year. Super lucky, super blessed, and I love that thing. So.
And is there a specific criteria of what bike you need to use for what specific race?
Yeah. So, I mean, I could race my motocross bike in the rallies, but I would probably blow the engine. You know?
Wouldn't be the first or the last.
Yeah.
Though, right?
And I could do vice versa. You know, I could race my rally bike for the circuit stuff, but it's just when you know, I don't want to sound like a big-headed fool now, but if you're a beginner, you can get away with it. But if you are competing at a high level, you know, the suspension's different, gearbox is different, gear ratios are different. It's just 2 different bikes meant for 2 different.
Okay. They're essentially tuned for specifically what you want to do.
Everything.
Okay. What was the change in your mind to go from, oh, I'm enjoying this, to, oh, I want to do this. Like, I actually want to compete.
I got tired of dreaming. I've always been a big dreamer, bro. I love watching, this is going to sound stupid, bro, but I love Power Rangers when I was a kid, Dragon Ball Z, Marvel movies. To this day, I love it. My wife hates them, though. Anyway, I go by myself, it's fine. So I think that just translated to, like, obviously seeing superheroes doing amazing things and, like, you know, wow, the wow factor. And the only way that can translate in real life is excelling at sport. So obviously with the sport that I love so much, you know, every dude, I'm not kidding, every single night to this day, I still go to bed every night thinking, I want to win. I want to be up there. I want to do good things. I want people to get into the sport and just get a fraction of what I've gotten from it. So I literally just was dreaming of being up there, getting sponsors, growing the sport, winning races. Championship didn't even come into mind, bro. It was just too far of a reach. And I just woke up one day and I literally turned over and I said to my wife, I said, babe, I'm tired of dreaming. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna start making some changes, doing things differently, and really putting effort. And yeah, that's when I started putting a bit more effort into my social media, what I was posting, training, healthier habits. And it just, you know, every time I met a small goal, I wasn't done yet. Like, I won the championship last year, but I'm not done yet. Like, a little bit, I felt a bit conflicted because I was stoked, but I didn't win everything. Like, I know I can do better. And that, not because I think I'm the best, but because I expect better of myself to be a better athlete in that So I get angry. It's not because like, oh, I could have won that. No, I know that I can work harder to get there. It's not going to come easy. It's definitely not. But I know that I can be a better rider and athlete. So I need to. It's not in terms of I'll try to get there. No, I know I can. I just need to be better. That's nobody else's fault. I just need to cut out the mistakes, train harder, be more prepared.
There's a trend.
I'm hungry, bro.
There's a trend that I've noticed when I'm talking to, let's call it high achievers, and that is that feeling of not being satisfied with the end result is always going to be there. And
Blessing and a curse.
it boils down to how much you enjoy the journey. And I feel like even with myself, not that I'm even putting myself in that category, but the way that I think is every time I finish a race, as soon as I finish, I'm like, okay, what's the next one?
Preach.
And when I come through the finish line, it's amazing. Like, man, I can't even explain it to you. It's like something
Euphoric.
Yeah, like something leaves my body, and I give a big gust of a shout because I've obviously tried to achieve a certain goal. And when it comes to the thing that I do, is these Ironman races, it's all about time. It's about trying to get the best time. And I've been fortunate enough for every race that I've done, I've beaten my time.
You worked hard for it. It's not fortunate. You earned it.
But thanks, bro. I never look at it that way, but I do appreciate it. And then when I finish, the only thing that got me there was the process of enjoying what we were talking about.
Embrace the suck.
The suck. And it's so true. And I think as soon as I finish, it's the first thing I think about. I was like, oh, okay, that was great. I get that little 15-minute dopamine hit, don't get me wrong. And it is the best drug in the world. And then immediately once that 15 minutes is down,
You're already thinking about the next
I'm
goal.
thinking about the next one. Because if I don't, there is something about being in that euphoric state where what comes up must come down. And if I don't already start preparing and thinking about the next thing, you can fall into that little slumber of, I don't even want to call it depression, but it's essentially it's a negative where it's like, okay, that's it. And that's what I mean by when I've been talking to a lot of people that define their sport and choose what they want to do, is I've noticed that they all embrace the suck because the journey is so important. And I think whether it's sport, business, education, I mean, name it. If you don't actually love the journey, the end goal is not going to be as great, man. It's not going to be that enjoyable. And I think a lot of people tend to forget that the end goal, it's a blip. It's such a small part of the process. It's so tiny. Yes, it's amazing when you're there, but it's like that, man. It's, you know what it is? It's like social media. It's like a story. It's 24 hours and then it's gone. And if you look at all these amazing athletes that win Olympic gold medals, they World Cup champions, I can bet you they've all said the same thing, where it's like, they have that medal in their cabinet or they have that trophy. Their euphoric feeling and your and my euphoric feeling when we're winning something, it's exactly the same. Yeah. Even though the pedestal might be higher, it's the same feeling. And then you got to recircle that back to keep on training, keep on moving. And I think that's also, just to bring it back again to education and kids, I think that process of education is also what leads to these fundamental values of embracing the fact that day in and day out, you got to put in effort. You got to work,
Make sacrifices.
Absolutely. It's super cool, man. Look, at the end of the day, it's not an easy sport that you do.
No.
And it comes with a lot of broken bones. And
it does.
Seeing your Instagram sometimes, honestly, I get like hot flushes, for the people out there that are listening. We've both had a couple of great injuries in our day. You a few more than mine, and I don't know if it's that I learn from my lessons or you just enjoy reinteracting with yours. But When it comes to training specifically now, you found your sport, you found your passion. What type of training do you do to actually keep yourself ready and keep yourself fit for something like this? Because it's not a very
there's no specific training.
yeah, exactly. It's not a functional motion. It's a very isometric.
Yeah.
A lot of brain focus, a lot of I almost want to say concentration.
Mental and physical.
Yeah.
So, I mean, luckily enough, I had F45, start supporting me. I think it's been 4 years now. So I was very, very blessed. That definitely kickstarted the journey for my physical side of the riding. But in terms of getting ready, it's been evolving through the years, because obviously season, race after race, I'm kind of looking at it, analyzing, seeing what worked before, what works better. But to break it down, it's basically just base fitness. So a lot of cycling, a lot of just F45 workouts, just to, because what I like about F45, it's functional movements, which is kind of everything, which in motocross and rally, we need everything. If I've got super strong legs, great. But I also need a very strong core, back, shoulders, everything. So I can't focus on just one thing. I have to kind of keep everything going at the same time. The biggest difference though, last year, why, I would, say I was riding the best I've ever ridden up until now because of the KTM. But was just riding time. I sacrificed a lot of time. I'd finish work, straight from work at 2:30, as he would complain, drive straight to Sea-Line. Lights were on, start training, riding, doing motos, train Mondays and Wednesdays. I'd get home at 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, and then wash my bike, whatever. So riding 3 or 4 times a week. So then I'd do Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning, Saturday morning. That was a game changer, because I'm fit, but riding fit is different, because there is, like you say, there is no substitute for it.
It's tough to replicate.
It's not something that you can replicate in the gym or anywhere. You have to be on the bike, because it's essentially you've got 120 kgs under your legs, and you're holding on to that, and you're trying to move it through turns, jump it, hit corners, whatever. So there is no replicating it. You can just kind of make sure that you are physically ready for it. Obviously strong legs, core, back, shoulders. That's it.
Cool. And nutrition?
Just a lot of hydration, man. Before a race, especially in the dunes, lots and lots of water.
Do you take? I'm assuming you must be taking packs with you in terms of
when we race rallies. Yes. Mm-hmm. During the survivals, the track, the circuit stuff. No, I don't have time to take my hand off the bars and.
Okay. 75 minutes of just pure focus.
Just the tears wetting my lips.
That's a new way of lubricating.
Yeah, right,
okay. Man, 75 minutes with not a drop of anything it's not easy, man. It's not easy.
And it's like the competition it's rough, man. The dudes are on it.
Do you actually track your nutrition, not in terms of daily consumption, I mean in terms of supplementation, so energy gels, hydration drinks, how much sodium you drink in? Not? Okay.
No, I don't. It's probably, it would make sense to kind of, because every other aspect of my training, physically I'm aware of what I'm doing, keeping track, etc. But it's one thing where I just haven't. Okay. Something I probably should get into.
Do you track how much calories and like heart rate variability on your watch, for instance? Like when you're done with the ride, like, okay, well, how long? 3-hour ride, this is the amount of calories I've burned, this was my average heart rate, things like that?
I don't look at how many calories I've burnt, because it's a bit difficult, because obviously, when I'm recording on my watch, it's on bike. So
I see.
I don't know if the calorie burn is, because obviously bike on the Garmin, we're cycling 30, 35, 40, 45 if you can. But when I'm doing that on the dirt bike, I got you, bro. When I'm doing that on the dirt bike, it's like 60, 80, 100 Ks an hour. So I don't know if, if it's...
I get you. Only reason I ask that is when we can't even compare the two different sports, but if I have to compare on average how much I consume in a 5-hour period, it makes a difference. It really does,
sure.
especially in terms of. Also, let me just rephrase. I'm not asking him about the calories to see how much calories he's burning for fitness related issue. It's more on the fact to see how much you're depleting yourself. And so in a 5 hour span, I'm trying to hold between 60 and 80 grams of carbs and 500 milligrams of sodium. And it's not because I it's more in the fact that you want to be as powerful as possible when you're racing.
Of course.
And the more you burn, the more your body's consuming, the more depleted you get. And then vice versa, you end up like that stickman scenario, where everything is pulling tight, etc. It's maybe just something to
look about. But to put it in perspective, there was one race where I hit the wall, bro. The wall hit me. That's what it felt like. At 20 minutes, I'll never forget it. My arms blew out. Couldn't feel my forearms. I couldn't reach my fingers out to hit my clutch or my brake. And I started getting a headache. Mouth was super dry. I just felt so bad. And he gapped me. He gapped me, bro, so bad. And I was just struggling, man. Struggle bus. And then, obviously, my wife and friends all on the side, like, it's not over. It's not over. Like, I've got a pit board where they write stuff on. Sometimes not so nice things. And
don't come home if you don't win.
I'm leaving with him. What? And it's just, I didn't feel the change. Like, it wasn't as if there was a switch and I was like, yes, bro, I'm back. I just started ticking away at the gap. And I caught him with 2 laps to go. And he's a full-blown professional, Red Bull athlete, my main competitor for the past couple of years. Love the guy, fantastic competitor. And I was just catching him and I was like, dude, come on, just go. And 1 lap to go, I can see the finish line. They're already waving it for the 2 of us. So he's first, I'm second. We come down the dune, jump down. I jumped too far down, hit a dip, and that dip pushed me forward. I beat him on the line by 0.052.
Insane.
Yeah. So literally we were neck and neck.
Yeah.
But anyway, that race hit me so hard. My average heart rate 75 plus 1, let's say 79 minutes. Average heart rate was 183.
Oof. That's brutal.
Holding that, bro, I was not feeling good. Up until they told me I won.
Yeah.
Miraculously, I was like, yes, let's go, bro.
Exactly. Well, that's that endorphin kick. It's the buzz. It's the energy,
But it definitely depletes you bad. Mentally and physically.
Yeah,
you laser focused, bro, because you got 120 kgs. Off-road bumps, whatever. If it's rally, up, down, dunes, drops, everything. If you're not focused, it goes wrong.
It's insane. You talk about, like, say, depletes you mentally. I've heard of, again, I don't know how true this is, but I've read and heard of students that, like, study for their doctorate, masters, things like that, when they're in their last, let's call it, section of their exams. So we're talking 5, 6, 7 hours of studying daily. Heavy doses of Adderall, all medicated up, burning 5,000 to 6,000 calories a day, just on mental focus. So I don't think people should ever neglect the fact that, like, the amount of, depending on obviously what sport you do and the amount of focus and consumption your brain takes for you to digest material, or being on a course and actually just digesting exactly what you're doing, because one slip is an injury. One wrong turn, one bump.
For sure.
So the amount of focus and the amount of energy you're physically consuming just by your eyes is insane. So yeah, man, I definitely recommend you track that and then set yourself out like a call it a supplement nutrition schedule for yourself, and then test it. See how it goes. I bet you'll fly, especially in terms of mental clarity. Absolutely. it would definitely be better.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Oh man, when you get to a certain level, the how can I say it? The accomplishment, the increments become a lot.
Millimeters.
Yeah,
we're talking millimeters.
Yeah.
It's killing me too, because every race that I'm doing, my time that I'm beating, it's not so big anymore. It's not like, oh, I beat my time by 24 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's like, 9 minutes, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm dreading the day when it's going to be like 24 seconds. So, yeah, exactly. The better you get, the more work you have to put in for the marginal wins.
gains.
So it is what it is, man. It's the build up to almost want to say, not become successful, but to reach greatness in your world. You know, I had another thing that I was listening to. Do you follow comedians or stand up comedy? So Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
So he was telling a story which really resonated with me and ended up being a joke. I laughed afterwards, but the story was quite cool, where you can be living in other people's lives and other people can be living in your lives. So you've got your bubble of what you do and your sport, education, etc. And when you're talking about the story of how you won the race, even though two people are doing exactly the same thing, there are moments in life where you were living in that competitor's world, where he was winning. You know, he was someone you looked up to. He didn't even recognize you. Yeah. He wasn't living in your bubble. Yeah. You were living in his. Yeah. And then slowly those things intersect, where he ends up living in yours. And it's super fascinating, because for some people, you're not even recognizable until it happens.
NPC.
But it's crazy. It's crazy, you know. That journey of the shift and the molds in between is it's a beautiful thing to have. You know, it's always good to have these ambitions and specifically, I don't even want to. You talk about Marvel and comics and things like that. There's always a villain, right?
Yeah, man.
There's always a villain. And I think even in our life and in the things that we pursue, we were having a conversation outside when I was talking about my race before the race. When I'm racing, I pick my villain.
Yeah, you know my friend.
Yeah. I pick my villain, but the funny thing is that guy doesn't even know he is the villain.
Yeah.
You know, for that moment in time, for me to get from X to Y.
You're an obstacle.
You're an obstacle. And you know, I find that the easiest way to push my threshold. Some people use other tools. Mine is go fuck you attitude. And you know,
I'm gonna have you for dinner.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, but that's just sport, man. Sport's so incredible, because you can, everything that we've talked about, everything that we feel and stuff, we and that we've learned from sport, we can use it in day-to-day life. You win some, you lose some. Tomorrow, the sun's gonna shine tomorrow. And like you said, remember we were talking about it, no one's gonna feel sorry for you. Yeah. In sport, at work.
So true, man.
My wife and I have a thing where I told her years ago, when we first started seeing each other, I said, listen, when something bad happens, you got 24 hours to feel sorry for yourself. After that,
fix it.
You just go. Move. I mean, no one else is going to feel sorry for you. What's it going to help? You know, because otherwise you get stuck. Because, dude, I went through some things when I was a kid. I thought I was the only one in the world. Oh, poor little Mike. Nah, bro. Grow up. Dude, and then when I learned that it wasn't only me and that there's so many other people in the world who go through even worse, no matter how cuck it is that what you're going through, there's always somebody who's got it worse.
Amen, bro. So it's so true.
Just move on, bro.
Yeah. It's so true.
Easier said than done.
Absolutely.
But if you keep the people around you, you keep them in check, they keep you in check. That's it.
So true. I think that's also why I love community sports. I love team sports, is because that exact thing of you saying, where, you know, we're all keeping each other in check, you know. And it's interesting because when I transcended into individual sports, it was because of political factors in team sports, you know, which, I mean, it happens. It's life, whatever. But it's funny how even in individual sports, or maybe I don't think it's just me, but I still treat individual sports like a community event.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah,
so finding a group of buddies that enjoy cycling, for instance, or find a group of buddies that start a run club, whatever the case may be. Having that interaction with groups of people, it's good for competition.
100%.
It's a gut check, because there's always going to be someone better than you, but there's always going to be someone worse than you, man.
Yeah.
So that whole aspect of being around like-minded human beings I think it's important.
100%.
And there's that saying, where if you're the smartest or richest person in the room, you're in the wrong room, So at the end of the day,
that's deep.
And it's true, because
Should I leave?
check out. But it's such a true factor, and it's something that I always think about, because when it comes to development, whether it's sports, whether it's education, whether it's business, I think the principles are always the same,
Foundation.
Yeah. And the pursuit to perfection should always be the goal. And what's nice is we're human. So if your pursuit to perfection is always there, that means you're always going to develop. Whether it's, small increments, beating someone by 0.01 second, or by going from recreational to professional.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. That pursuit of, I want to be the best, it should be important, for me. Anyway, it is. I'm never going to be a professional triathlete, but the pursuit to be better will always be there.
Exactly.
To beat my time, to maybe try a more difficult course. Yeah. Because, like I say, I've been fortunate to always beat my time, but maybe my next course is going to be something ultra challenging. So my time might not be beaten, but my development to race that course is going to be great.
Yeah.
So there's many aspects of like looking at it, but for me, at the end of the day, the pursuit to try to be better is always going to be there.
And you're already 50% better than you were yesterday.
Just for trying.
And you're already 100% better than the other people in the world who are looking at you going, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's true.
That's also the good thing about keeping, like you said, a close community. Like I'm fortunate enough to have some of my very closest friends who ride and race, and we keep each other in check. There's days where I don't want to train, and they're like, listen, don't be a pussy. Let's go.
Yeah.
And then we have the sickest day training. And then there's times where I keep them in check. I'm like, listen, don't worry about it. You are, because obviously I've been doing this the longest from them, and they are gauging themselves to me. And I tell them, listen, where you are now compared to where I was in the same timeline, I can't even tell you, man. So, and there's times where I've come second because we have a super professional coming from Europe who comes and races. And anyway, it's been a learning experience. Yeah. But, I took that hard. But I've got my friends who are like, dude, you're smashing everybody else. Like, that you need people around you to keep you in check, point things out to you that you will miss, especially if you're like us. Like, I think we've got the same mindset. We want this. Whatever happens in between, I wouldn't say oblivious to it, but it's all just white noise because you were laser focused on getting this.
Absolutely.
So you need people around you to be like, hey, don't forget look at where you are, man. Look at what you've done. Look at the things you've, accomplished up until this point. Maybe the goal wasn't meant to be this time, but from here to here, you've done this. So it's very important to keep people, in your circle with you. Otherwise, dude, you're gonna eat yourself alive.
And it's also lonely.
Oh man,
it's lonely. And at the end of the day too, like, don't get me wrong, the better you get, and I think also the older you get, and the more you put your work and your effort in, your group is always going to get smaller.
Oh,
don't get me wrong.
I love it.
It is. It's going to get smaller, but it's okay, because the ones that part, they weren't going to be there anyway.
That's just the journey of life, dude.
They're never going to be there. It's funny. Me and Althea, we take loss quite seriously in everything, whether it's, my wife gets to the point where if she doesn't believe that she's going to win, she won't participate. Like, she is ultra competitive. Even board games.
Yes.
Like, do you remember 30 Seconds?
Oh.
Yeah, bro. we can't be on the same team because let me tell you, if there is like a few mistakes, it's like it's on. It's on. So we tend to swap partners just so that it can be enjoyable for the rest of the group.
More logical.
But yeah, so we take loss. We take loss pretty hard, especially when we're younger. I guess it comes a bit with ambition, and you know you're on the pursuit.
It's just passion.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll never forget when I was starting out my fitness journey. You lose clients, you know, and people come and go in your life. And I'll never forget, man, that when these things used to happen, I'd go into my room, pissed, like super angry, not at them, at myself. And I'd start writing down, okay, what can I do to never let this feeling happen again? All right, how many times was I on my phone? What was the programming like? What did they enjoy? What did they not enjoy? How can I fix this? Because I don't ever want this feeling to happen again. And it used to happen to me in sport too, man. Like, you know, not getting picked for the first team. You know, it would like infuriate me. And that's why that like villain mentality, that's how it started. So I was like, okay, this guy, these are the people I need to, you know, like beat. And the conclusion that I came to, coming back to the clients, was these people, while you're on the pursuit of bettering yourself, so take out the fact if you're a lazy fucking bastard, all right? You're on the pursuit to better yourself. You're looking at ways to change and looking at ways to develop. These people that came in and out of your life, they were never going to be there in the first place.
Stepping stones.
They were stepping stones, and you can't also please everyone. You can't. There are people that are going to enter your life, all right? And I've had this happen to me often, where I have a client, we do our analysis, we chat, and I've gotten to the point now where I know where it's going to lead, right? But back in the day, I was so enthusiastic, and you know,
just
like
wanted it so bad.
I wanted to better them so bad, but at the end of the day, their intentions and my intentions didn't align, and that's okay, you know. And learning out of that experience was probably taught me more than anything else, you know, because you can't save them all. You can't. And when you get better and you grow and you get stronger and you start pursuing to places that you didn't even think were possible, that group of people, like we spoke about, they start deferring away, and your small, tight-knit group becomes tighter, stronger, more difficult to bring more people in. You know, it starts becoming like the Colosseum. You know, it's like one big brick wall. So bridging onto that, like you were talking about, where this professional bike rider came, you know, threw a spanner in the works. I would look at that as an opportunity as well
to better myself,
to better yourself.
That's exactly
what
Mornay said.
Yeah, you know, like
probably listening.
the fact that guy rocked up was maybe a blessing. Yeah. Because let me also tell you something, bro. Cats are small, so I'm not saying that it's easy to win everything. That's not what I mean. What I do mean is
easy to get complacent.
It's easy to get complacent. So easy. That's even myself.
Exactly.
Even myself with work. Like sometimes it's like, okay, it's becoming a little bit too easy. Like I need to start moving. You know, like I can't just be, I wouldn't say doing the same stuff over and over, but you get very comfortable with being okay with what you're doing. And if you don't keep pushing that boundary and being hard on yourself, and it's good to be hard on yourself too, that negative energy that you're feeling, if you can learn how to turn that into fuel to be like, today, fuck that person. Why is he here? Why is he stuffing up my legacy? No, he's not stuffing up your legacy. He's going to turn
me better. Yeah.
He's going to turn it for you.
Dude, I've got a playlist that I listen to on the way to the racetrack. My wife knows. She's like, it's time. And I'm like, yep. She knows. She's dead quiet, and I put that guy on. Dude, there's a playlist on iTunes, and my favorite one is like, it's all these dudes just like shouting at you.
Okay. Like, motivation. It's like a motivational video. Yeah. David Goggins.
You are going to war. Brother, my goosebumps get goosebumps. And I'm like, yes, bro.
I know that.
You know, like,
I know. Yeah, bro. I know that.
I just get like, let's go, man. Yeah. It's go time. Like all the sacrifices that I make, not going out, not going clubbing, not seeing these people and spending hours in the gym, working on my bike, you know. this is why. Here's where it all leads up into here. So I need to go balls to the wall, just as hard as I can.
It's
and
beautiful.
I love it. Like the anxiety and the nervousness and the jitters and whatever, it's insane. Like you almost feel like you're vibrating, you know, like internally I feel like I'm going like this, like I'm just like, and then it just, and then as soon as I'm on the bike, around that first corner, it's just silence, bro. Yeah. It's just go time.
That's amazing. Oh, special.
I live for it, man. I live for it.
It's special. It's always great communicating and talking to people that are genuinely passionate about what they do. Genuinely.
Yeah, it's refreshing, man.
Tell me, your Instagram is very active. It's very cool. I love your content. I love what you
Likewise.
do. And I must say, like, the one thing that's been really refreshing from your Instagram account is that you're kind of like a bit of a purist in terms of the things that you post, especially stories, things like that. Like, it's great to see some of the, I wouldn't say comedic end, you know, when it comes to like behind the scenes, you know, little pop-ups of things that you do for your sponsors.
Yeah.
It's very cool. It's very refreshing, and I must admit, it definitely puts a smile on my face.
Yeah, that's the goal, man.
From time to time, which is cool. I have to ask you, number 8. Tell me the story.
So, funny thing is, like the first when we started racing, they give you random numbers. So I had a few random ones, and then the race where I broke my ankle, I was the first one to register. You know, when you're keen, you're keen. So they gave me number 1.
Okay.
Big dog. Little puppy. Yeah. And never again did I take 1. Okay. And then we were told, like, if you want to choose a number, you can have it for the season. And I was like, okay. 18. It's my birthday, you know. I was like, no, but I want, you know, single digits are gang, you know. So I was like, no, I don't want to be number 1. So I was like, we'll just run with 8. You know, it's a nice number. Round, 2 circles, whatever. Never really had a real reason for it. And then years later, met Jazz. Her favorite number's been 8. She's born on the 8th. And I was like, damn.
Meant to be.
We'll just say it was like that. So there was no like eureka moment, you know, like, this is my number for life. So, but now, which I kind of like, because 8 wasn't something before. Now it is. You know, like I made the thing for, like the specialness about it is from what I've done for myself, not to other people. Like no one's like, oh, 8. It's for me. So that's just
okay. That's cool. 8's also a number that indicates what do you call it? What's that word? Infinity.
Infinity. Yeah, correct.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, correct.
I thought the 8 was because you played 8th man when you were playing rugby.
No. I was fullback and fly half.
Okay.
So
oh, shit.
Yeah.
You were the Tom Brady of the team, son. Huh?
You know, someone's got to do it.
No, very cool, man. Because I see the number 8 everywhere. I thought, man, there's something about it. It's all over the place.
And it was also like it's easier to market a single digit. Like if I was like 411 or like 818, 111, 8. Nice and easy.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, mine's 2, so that when I'm ahead of someone, they know where they stand.
Hey, yo!
Second best, baby.
Very nice.
Yeah, cool, man. Also, I'm just looking at your sponsorships. You got Astro F45, it's a wrap interiors, Snunu, Alpha Dun Motors. Tell me, how did you get involved with these guys? I mean, every single one I'm looking at is unbelievable.
Yeah, so I mean, this is also one of those things where I kind of have to be reminded to look at and be grateful for. Because when you're on the journey, you sometimes have to be reminded, hey man, just take a look. You know, because I wouldn't say it's ungratefulness, but when you're so laser, like when you're so goal driven, like everything else is, okay, cool, just jump on, let's go. You know, just keep it going. I need to get there. So, you know, sometimes I have to look and be like, damn, man, I'm so lucky, I'm so blessed. So, you know, I try and do as much I'm a very loyal person. And so when I take on a sponsorship, I make sure, because I've actually declined a few where I couldn't see me helping them. You know what I mean? I'm not just here to take from you and not be able to give back. You know, so it all started out with just a few companies reaching out on social media when I started posting a lot of my training stuff. Hey, we'd like you to post this type of stuff, like these products or this supplement and blah blah blah, this food, etc. And, you know, just it snowballs. And then, you know, obviously Snunu has been an insane experience. I never thought of myself as a brand ambassador for such a big company. And they're growing exponentially. It's amazing. I'm so lucky to be part of the family. And, you know, all the others, after following the racing in the States so closely throughout the years, I learned, I wasn't just looking at the pictures. I was like, he's posting it like that because of that product. I was kind of analyzing how they were portraying themselves for future sponsorships, for their existing sponsors, you know. So I kind of took that and learned from it, and I tried to apply that for myself, you know, to be I wouldn't say influencer, but just a good marketing tool for them. Because that's it. That's what I am, you know. It's a two-way street. So I just, you know, decided to make a portfolio with all my achievements, what I can do, what I have done, plans, etc., and sent it to a few companies. And yeah, a lot of companies were keen on it. They love what I do, and yeah, they just jumped on board, and it's been magic. And, you know, the nice thing is that there's some good people in the world who put other people's names forward, which goes a long way, bro. There's not a lot of people that would, who how can I say it? There's not a lot of people that would be okay with seeing someone else excel. You know what I mean? It's a rare thing these days. So, you know, shout out to the homie. But it's nice when people are helping people. Not everybody is on the same path, and if you can help somebody on their path, it's special, dude. Because we live in a very selfish world, especially with social media. You know,
you've nailed it. People are selfish, and the problem is they don't realize there's enough crumbs on that pizza for everyone to eat.
Right,
and
that's my thing.
As much as people want the whole pie, it's not as great as they think,
and it'll never be enough.
Exactly, that's the problem. That's the problem. And I think also, you know, everyone's so fixated on their own journey that they are willing to sacrifice their own happiness, livelihood to destroy someone else's, when they didn't even realize that person's not even on the same journey as you. It might seem the same.
Yeah.
It might look the same. It might even in your mind feel the same. It's not the same, man. So I've never understood it. I really haven't. And I've had it experienced to me. And I must admit, I've got a very fortunately good trait of not holding grudges. 2 minutes later, it's gone. Because if I have to keep fixating on this darn thing, bro, it's depressing, you know? So
that's
for me, it's just something that I've never had a trait in, you know? Some people, they love it, you know, that's their kick.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah, that's their kick, man. You know, that's what makes them wake up in the morning. And it just is what it is.
That's why, like you said, like my Instagram is, you know, I appreciate I'll take it as a compliment.
It was, bro.
Just,
it was.
I'm still a kid, man. Like, I like to have fun. Like, life's too short. You know, I've been in a few situations where I was like, maybe not life or death, but definitely life could have changed and been different. And I'm fortunate enough that it didn't. I'm still doing what I love to do. So in those moments of bad things happening around you, if you're not looking at life after that thinking, damn, sun's shining, I get to drive my car, I get to fill up my car and not have to check how much it is first. Brother.
Yeah, we're blessed.
Come on, man.
Yeah,
life's good, bro. Have fun with it. Don't take life too seriously. I mean, if you can have a laugh, and that's that's one thing that I'm trying to keep a constant, is that because I never wanted to be some people have called me an influencer and stuff, but that's not how I see myself. What I post is I only post things that I will use, that I believe in, that's relevant. Like I'm not gonna, I don't want to be fake. You know what I mean? Like I'm Mike. I'm just Mike. I like to ride a bike, and I like to have a laugh. You know, and if I can make you laugh or make you smile or be like, this idiot, you know, that's fine, dude. That's awesome, because you never know when that little video is, you know, gonna make someone feel better or have a laugh or forget about, like, for a split second that they're having a crap day. Like everybody laughed the other day with my dad taking him home from hospital, and there was an ambulance stopped right next to us. So many messaged me, hey man, if you don't reply to this in an hour, I'll send the cops. You know, so it's life's too short, dude. Like things are gonna happen. Just move on, laugh. It's the best medicine.
You seem like you're very honest with yourself and the brands that you align yourself with. It's good, and again, I use this word. It's very refreshing to see that you're also honest with them.
Yeah.
In terms of, you know, brands will ask you to become part of their project, and if it doesn't align with your values and where you see yourself, and important, you're also looking at that brand's value.
Yeah, 100%, man. I'm not. The way I was raised was, I mean, not even. It's not something that's taught, but just my core values are fairness. I wouldn't be able to accept myself to just take an investment from a sponsor or a company or whatever if I'm not able to give back. I can't think of myself in their shoes looking at me being that person, because that's what I do. I put myself in their shoes. How am I being seen through their eyes, you know? Which is a blessing and a curse. You know, sometimes like that stuff keeps me up at night, but ultimately I'm better for it, I hope. It's obviously I have to make changes, and you know, I have to better myself all the time, but it's like a self-reflection type of thing, you know. So just do good and get good.
And the good thing is too is also, like, as you're growing and as you evolve, brands are still going to come and go, man. You know, I think sometimes if you it's human nature to hold on to things that you're comfortable with. It is. And sometimes that's relationships. Sometimes that is, again, friends, family. You know, we spoke about complacency. It's the same thing, you know. As you're evolving, I think it's okay. And it's okay to be wrong sometimes. It's okay to...
You're going to make mistakes.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Lastly, I have to talk about gastronomic, because we eat the same biltong. So... You know, when we were talking about nutrition, I thought you'd keep a piece of biltong in the back, but there's no time for that, bro. You need some liquid protein shakes. Yeah. Honestly, how good is their fucking meat,
dude?
Right?
That stuff is fire.
And by the way, I'm not sponsored. This is not a clickbaity clip for them.
I am, but click that bait.
but legit.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's,
their food is
unbelievable. The product is amazing, super fresh. Like I just said, I don't endorse anything that I don't believe in, whether you paid me or not. Like, there's things that I post for people to try or to buy or whatever that I have no affiliation with. If it can help you, if it's good for you, if I think it's sick or I think it tastes great, I'm gonna tell you. Like, you know, it's just one of those things. I wouldn't post something or endorse something that I don't think is amazing. And the biltong, the droeworst is just absolute fire. We bought a couple of hundred. I told you, we bought a couple of hundred of it in the beginning of the week, and I've been smashing it at work every day, bro. Little lunchbox.
Perfect protein snack.
Exactly.
It's crazy, because I used to buy all my products in one store, right? So I'd go to Monoprix on a Saturday, buy my groceries.
Qualities like this.
And every week I go in and I look for, like, the product that I've been consistently buying, and then all of a sudden it's gone. I'm like, you know, where do I go now?
Yeah.
And the game changer, why I started actually personally purchasing, is that WhatsApp catalog. Bro, I literally, on a Saturday, drop onto the WhatsApp box, select from the catalog, send a message, if I order in the morning, by the afternoon, boom, on the doorstep.
your doorstep.
Oh, it's the most convenient thing I've ever used. It's incredible. So yeah,
And just
big shout
quality,
out.
man. Because there's, like you said, you go to these big stores here and you buy meat, and some days it's great, next day not so great. And then so far they've been very consistent.
I
And
agree.
obviously, in this day and age, get it delivered to your house. You don't have to leave.
Yeah. Oh, bro.
Sign me up.
How easy is the, what do you call it? The process here in Doha. It's nuts. Like everything is just way too convenient, man.
Yeah, Snunu makes it super convenient.
I think Gastronomics on Snunu now as well, right?
Of course.
They're on their app, which is awesome. Mike, it's been a pleasure, bro. I actually had so much fun. I had an outlook of where I thought the podcast would go, and I'll be honest, it was fucking cool. It was cool. The educational part was amazing. I didn't know a lot of your prehistoric background in terms of where you come from, how you got into education, and
everybody's got a story, man.
Yeah.
That's the sick thing.
yeah, absolutely. And your mindset and your outlook to the way that you look into your job and your work, it's inspirational. It really is. And I don't think from what I've seen in Doha and what I've experienced, I don't see a lot of teachers having that type of mindset. A lot of them, it's an 8 to 5, get in, get out, get my paycheck, focus for my next holiday. And
I appreciate it, man.
It's super refreshing. It's so great to see that the way that you deal with these kids, they're not young. I mean, they're not old, sorry. They're super young, man. Like it's a fragile state in terms of where their development starts.
Yeah.
And what you're doing it's awesome.
I appreciate it, man. And I mean, like you said, we don't really hang out much, but we've been following each other for a while, and I've also seen your grind, and it's nice to see people on different paths, like you said, just killing it. And I love the hustle, bro, and you've been smashing it. And you might have gotten me thinking about doing an Ironman at some point in my life, bro.
Let's go, baby.
Oh,
dude, I swear, if you're on it, I'm with you. You pick the location, you do what you need to do, you drop me a text, I'm on it. I'm on it, son.
BMC try. Appreciate
Anyways,
you guys having me out, man. Thanks so much.
It's
It was
a pleasure. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, bro.